Somewhere right now, someone is falling asleep while listening to the details of a murder. It's late. You're alone. The only light in the room is the glow of your screen. The only voice in the darkness is calmly describing the last moments of someone's life. You tell yourself it's just background noise, something to help you fall asleep. But your heart is pounding. You're not drifting off. You're leaning in. Don't pretend you clicked on this by accident. You felt a pull, a quiet, persistent curiosity about something you might not even want to admit out loud. You're not alone. It's the same force that turns gruesome trials into global spectacles. The same force that inspires love letters to be sent to men on death row. The same force that keeps you watching when the footage turns uncomfortable. The question isn't if we're drawn to the dark. The question is why. This obsession isn't a morbid quirk. It's a shadow that followed humanity for as long as we've told stories. A knot of fear, adrenaline, and a desperate need to make sense of the incomprehensible. To understand why we watch, we have to look into the abyss, and you're already closer than you think. Our fascination with serial killers isn't driven by a single impulse. It's a collision of primal instincts and uncomfortable desires. Our fear of death, our hunger for answers, and our belief that understanding equals control. The room is quiet, and you're still listening. This obsession becomes something ancient. Our ancestors survived by paying attention to danger, to the rustle in the grass, to the habits of the predators. They studied the lion not out of curiosity, but because failing to understand it meant death. That instinct never left us. It just changed shape. Today, the predators we fear most don't have claws or fangs. They walk on two legs. On a deep instinctual level, watching true crime feels like studying the monster from a safe distance. You learn their routines, their methods, their mistakes that led to their capture. For many, especially women who make up a majority of true crime audiences and are statistically more likely to be victims, this doesn't feel like entertainment. It feels like preparation. If I know the signs, if I recognize the pattern, maybe I'll survive. It's vigilance disguised as comfort. While one part of your brain studies the killer, another part lives inside the victim's final moments. They were locking up for the night, walking to their car, trusting someone who seemed normal. They weren't reckless, they weren't careless, they were just ordinary. And that's what terrifies us, because if it could happen to them, it could happen to you. That realization hits like ice water, but it also creates empathy. By stepping into this story, we confront our own mortality in a controlled nightmare. We touch the darkness without being consumed by it. Fear with an exit. A reminder to appreciate the simple act of still being alive. Violence is chaos. A brutal crime shatters the illusion that the world is orderly or fair. It leaves behind a question that refuses to be ignored. Why? True crime offers an answer, or at least the shape of one. It takes randomness and reshapes it into a narrative. Clues, timelines, motives. We follow the investigation step by step, waiting for the final piece that makes everything click. Understanding doesn't excuse the crime, but it contains it. Because a monster with a motive feels solvable. A monster without one is just darkness, waiting. You're safe for now. Beyond psychology, there's something simpler at work. It's a thrill. These stories trigger a real fight or flight response. Your heart races, your senses sharpen, your body prepares for danger. And yet, you're still sitting there, safe. It's a terror without consequence. Like a roller coaster or a horror movie. You get the rush without the risk. When the episode ends, you're the one who survived. You hold the remote. You decide when the monster disappears. If you're still here, if this topic pulled you in the same way it pulls in so many others, take a moment. Let me know in the comments what draws you to these stories. Curiosity? Fear? Understanding? Or something else? And if this is the kind of darkness you want to explore more deeply, consider liking the video and subscribing. We're just getting started. Now back to the video. And then there's the part we don't like to talk about. Attraction. Notorious killers receive floods of fan mail, explicit photos, marriage proposals. People pour their hearts out to men who showed none. There's a clinical word for this. A clinical name for the desire for attaching itself to violence. But the label matters less than the truth it exposes. For some, it's an attraction to power. To some who shattered every rule and became infamous for it. To be chosen by them feels like proximity to that power. For others, it's about control. A partner behind bars can't leave, can't cheat, can't hurt them. The danger is locked away. What remains is a fantasy, a relationship with a caged beast, visited safely behind glass. Often, it's tied to a savior fantasy. The belief that my love could be the thing that fixes him. A way of rewriting a horror story, one where the monster never had any power at all. When we zoom out, this obsession becomes a mirror. True crime doesn't reveal individual psychology. It exposes cultural anxiety, but it also raises a question we rarely sit with. At one point, does fascination become exploitation? These were real people, real victims, real lives interrupted, and too often they're reduced to the opening chapter of a story centered on the killer. True crime can bring justice, solve cold cases, expose corruption, but it also dances dangerously close to turning predators into celebrities, into myths. The responsibility is remembering who truly matters. So why are we obsessed with serial killers? Because we want to study the predator? Because we want order in a chaotic world? Because we crave fear we can turn off? And for some, because control feels safer than reality. This obsession isn't a flaw. It's a reflection of our deepest fears, our need to believe we understand the darkness. And the next time you watch one of those stories late at night, remember, you're not just watching a monster, you're staring into an abyss. And tonight, you might not be the one who looks away first. Thank you for watching, truly. If you stayed until the end, you're already braver or more curious than most. Until next time, stay aware and don't forget to lock the door.